Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, it's Thursday.
Indeed it is.
What Thursday of the year is it, sir?
Some Thursday in January, I would assume.
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
I don't know. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific cutter himself, Zealeus.
It is good to see you, my good people. Although I don't actually see you people, but
Yes.
I know you're there.
We can feel your brain power through the interweb zeros and ones.
Unless you have no brain power, and then I feel sorry.
All of our viewers have brain power, okay? Because they're brilliant, because they are tuning into our show. Those who do not tune into the show, no brain power.
You have much more optimism in our faithful viewers than I do.
I do.
That's why we have you, to uplift my downing morale.
Oh. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Night Hangout. This is a show for you, by you, where you give us the topics and we discuss and dissect and counter-argument.
Wait,
and
what are we dissecting?
the truth of the topic
Oh, I thought we were going to
behind.
dissect a frog.
No, this isn't biology. That's where you dissect the frog? I never got to dissect the frog.
What about like a platypus?
Dude, I heard those things can mess you up.
What about like dissecting a narwhal?
Isn't that illegal?
Probably.
I've heard.
I've not gone
like,
narwhal hunting lately, so I don't.
I think it was like a Animal Planet TV show. They're talking about like the most deadliest and rare attacks. Like a platypus will fuck you up because apparently it got like venom in their. They've got sacs in like their back foot, and they've got these like spikes, and they basically, it's like a neurotoxin.
I have a general policy of like just not fighting animals in general. Seems to be something I try to avoid.
Look, I may get pissed off at an animal here or there, but just looking at a platypus, I know that guy's been through a lot, and I'm not gonna fuck with him.
There you go. You should get a platypus shirt so nobody screws with you.
I know.
That's your problem.
I'll reach out to one of our friends, friend of the show. I can't remember his first name, but he goes by Imagination. I'll see if he can get me a platypus shirt.
What about like a platypus mitten?
Mitten?
To protect yourself.
I don't know.
It has like the toxin built into the mitten, so if you get attacked, you just like, platypus somebody. Ah!
Well, see, here's the thing about platypus. They like the anti-venom, because it's venom.
Sure.
Who the fuck gets nailed by a platypus? So like no one carries that
You go
shit.
like to ER and be like, really? Like they spend the entire time like asking about the platypus attack instead of just helping.
Did you bring it with you?
We need to dissect this platypus to further understand.
Because from my understanding, like that shit hurts like a motherfucker, and then your whole body just starts going in the shitter.
So what you're saying is,
Don't fuck with a platypus.
or get a pet platypus.
In general, don't fuck with a platypus.
Okay. Try to avoid doing that with any animal.
Indeed. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's actually get into some gaming topics, baby. I don't know. Anything nerdy and everything nerdy. Let's do this. First of all, I'd like to thank the brilliant mind of Felicia Day for creating the t-shirt I'm currently wearing called, there you go, Embrace Your Weird, which is also a book.
What are you embracing?
My weird.
What is your weird?
Everything.
That explains a lot.
Indeed it does. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a couple topics that have come up over the past week. The first one definitely has to be the fact that it has been officially announced that there will be a follow-up to the legendary anime Akira. Ooh. But it's not a movie, it's a series. Oh. And I'm not and let me also preface this. We're not talking about the live action remake as well. We're talking about an absolutely 100% sequel series
to the original anime.
Yes.
Oh, intriguing.
It is very intriguing. Now, the studio that's going to be helping them, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher his name, Katsuhiro Otomo. That's the guy behind Akira. He's going to be working with, oh my God, I just blanked out. Sunrise Studios, which Sunrise has like, not to be mean, but I haven't seen Sunrise in a while, but Sunrise is like one of the big studios to do like what we consider the anime back in our day.
Oh.
So I'm very interested to see what this is going to be, because to be honest with you, I felt good at the end of the movie. I would be very curious to see where they go from here.
I mean, I saw Akira like 20 years ago, and it just went like over my head.
Well, I own the DVD and the Blu-ray, so you can borrow it if you need a refresher. Just be aware, ladies and gentlemen, that if you watch Akira, there is nudity.
So don't watch it at school?
Yeah, don't watch it at school. And then, of course, while he's also announcing that he's doing a sequel to Akira, and of course, there's a live-action remake that apparently is arriving in 2021, which, please, for the love of God, do not have Robert Pattinson as the lead character, or I will find you. I will hunt you down, and Sparkles McGlitterfang is going to die.
What did he ever do to you?
I've never been impressed with what he considers acting.
Have you watched many movies that he's in?
Unfortunately, probably.
Okay.
We'll go with that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, one of the other things that's really awesome is that not only he is Otomo doing the Akira sequel series, but he's also got another project called Orbital Era, which is set in the near future on a space colony under construction. It's an action-adventure story of some boys in a peculiar environment in society who keep living their lives while they're being tossed about by fate, which is vague as hell.
But as an anime fan, does this excite you, sir?
Yeah, especially since it's basically from the mind of the guy who gave you Akira, so you know something's going to be fucked up.
It's a little too complex for my puny brain.
Yeah.
I like my plots simple, straight to the point. Don't make me think.
I understand, but at the same time, this is kind of interesting, exciting, and all that. I mean, I as soon as I read the article and I saw that Studio Sunrise is attached to it, I was like, okay, the anime I remember that Studio Sunrise created, it's good anime. So you can't go wrong there. And then the dude behind Akira is jumping back in the ring. I'm like, all right, I send you my monies.
All the monies?
Almost all the monies. But while we're talking about movies, I do want to say, and this was an offhand comment, okay? It's not confirmed that he's going to do this or not, but a gentleman by the name of Gary Whitta, which I, of course, basically fawn over every single time I get to say his name, Gary Whitta.
Yes. I can feel your...
He's an amazing guy, damn it! Okay, so Gary Whitta, of course, was the writer for the films The Book of Eli and After Earth. And to be honest with you, After Earth might have had better legs if it wasn't for Will Smith and his son trying desperately to pull off an English accent, which they can't, and repeating the same fucking line over, take a knee, take a knee, take a knee. Anyways.
Just like that?
Yeah, basically. But he also wrote for games such as Prey, Gears of War, and he was part of the writing crew for the Telltale adaptation of The Walking Dead. He was also the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer. So the dude has some credentials. Now,
so you're a fanboy, is what you're saying?
Yes. Now let's actually talk about what he said. Someone, an amazing artist out there, did a drawing of basically all of the vast majority of Star Fox's crew.
Ooh, that's a classic.
And when Gary Whitta saw this fan art, he goes, holy shit, I want to write this animated movie.
Ooh.
Now, of course, it's a Nintendo property. Pretty sure it's Nintendo.
I think so.
It's Nintendo.
Well, it's on the Nintendo devices, at least.
I don't think Star Fox has ever been on anything other than Nintendo. So I think it's safe to say that Nintendo. Sorry. Gary Whitta also was the writer behind Rogue One.
There you go. You left that very important.
I know. But anyways, It's interesting. I mean, it would be really, really cool to see a Star Fox movie in general.
I mean, space fights, animated, great writing. What's not to like?
Exactly. And it's got it's got all the different like archetype characters as well. So it would be really interesting to see it. It probably would never happen. I think it's one of those things where someone who actually has a bunch of clout, and the writing industry says something, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, wouldn't it be cool?" It would be fun. Though I would love to see what Gary Whitta would do with the Star Fox movie.
It is interesting how few Nintendo things make it to the actual silver screen.
Indeed. Let me think.
Are you done thinking yet? Ooh, I know what you're thinking.
What?
Mario Brothers.
Funny story behind Mario Brothers. The writer and director of that did not want to do a Mario movie. They wanted to do something different, but they were forced
about the plumber
to put Mario themes and stuff in there. It's an interesting story. I'll have to find the article where they actually talk about it. But they're like, yeah, no, we did not want to make a movie and slap Mario on top of it because we knew it's not Mario, but we were told it's got to be Mario. So we had to slam two things together. And of course, ended up craptacular. And unfortunately, the gentleman who played Mario has since passed. And he said that's his one regret is that he was part of that movie.
Basically, since then, Nintendo's like, nope, nothing for us.
To be honest with you, the only Nintendo game that there's a couple of Nintendo games that I would love to see made into a movie. Of course, top of the list, any of the Zelda games. Yes, I think that would be phenomenal. Kid Icarus would be interesting as well. There's not, I mean, sure.
F-Zero.
Oh, God, no. No, not F-Zero.
A racing movie. Come on.
That's like Death Race and Need for Speed.
Do you know how many Death Races are on Netflix? It's actually kind of entertaining.
And there's 2044, 2097, and 4 blah, 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 blah.
But Death Race is actually good. You know
which one?
It is? All of them! I enjoyed every single one. Of course, they all started with Jason Statham.
Really?
I think he was the first one.
Death Race?
Mm-hmm. And then, that's a beautiful thing is then you have other Death Racers.
Actually, I think you're right. No, you're right. Anyways, so if Gary Whitta were to make a basically the fan art that Gary Whitta fell in love with was was created by the art director for God of War. So that is fucking spectacular. And if you want to see it, I'm gonna link to the picture, homies.
I mean, it does look badass.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I don't care about Star Fox, but seeing this, I'm like, ooh, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the big blue guy. See what he has in store.
Where'd I put the damn thing? Oh, right here. So I'm going to paste the picture for you. Just hit that link or
you can
copy the link.
Stuff.
Anyway, so but it looks gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that. Okay, so moving on. Let's continue to stay in the. Oh, I closed the wrong window. Let's try to.
Dude.
I know, and I don't even know what the hell I closed.
I could just right-click and reopen tab, correct?
What? No.
Yep, reopen tab.
Reopen tab.
Yes.
How about reopen tab again?
I use that all the time.
Reopen tab one more time, because I apparently.
You closed all the tabs. There shall be no more tabs.
Did I? Was there another one? No. Okay, maybe I apparently was hallucinating, and I thought that there was an extra tab when there wasn't.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time it's happened.
That's not right. There's still one missing. Anyways, while I try to figure this out,
I really deleted that tab, sir.
I found it. Don't worry about it.
I had no doubt. Maybe just a little, but not too much.
Oh, when I closed the tab, it closed everything on that website for some reason. Okay. Anyways,
that's weird.
Anywho, let's stay in the entertainment news. And that, of course, this highly anticipated series called PICARD, which, of course, has already been renewed for a second season, simply because, I mean, Patrick Stewart is the fucking bomb. And for him to come back into the role of Jean-Luc Picard,
the legend, the man, the myth, the legend.
And not only to have him, but then to have familiar faces from TNG, which, of course, the Next Generation is what I grew up on. Yes, I know a lot of people are all about Captain Kirk, but I was Picard all the way. I've always been Picard all the way.
You're a Picard fanboy?
Yeah. I am a TNG all the way. Not whatever the other ones were, Voyager and Discovery or Deep Space Nine.
I'm a actually terrible person.
What?
I haven't seen any of them.
You never saw TNG?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
They're all on, I think they were all, well, they were at one point all on Netflix, and it's a shit ton of episodes, but I watched them all.
My space show was Battlestar Galactica.
See, I never really watched Battlestar Galactica. Well, I ended up going back, the reboot or the original?
The reboot.
The one that was on Sci-Fi? Sci-Fi?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched like maybe like 10, 15 episodes in, and then I was like, oh, look, it's a prequel called Capricorn. And then I watched that, and they're like, oh, we canceled it. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm going to find something else to watch.
Yep, that's the way Sci-Fi does it.
Well, they either cancel it immediately or they give you 5 seasons and go, well, that's the contract.
Even though you needed 7 seasons.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for just screwing over every Warehouse 13 fan, you douchebags.
At least they got to have a finale.
Was it really a finale? I literally was just like, let's just throw a shit ton of stuff and just do kind of this like, yay, we're all happy with each other.
No, I'm not saying it was a great finale, at least.
But yes, they did have a finale of some sort.
I mean, the irony is that was probably, no, it wasn't probably, it was the best season of Warehouse 13.
Yes, with the exception of the final episode.
That's what was so frustrating is like where they were going with that final season. It's like, yes, give me more of this. So, yep, your point is valid. That yes, they were on a path of awesomeness.
Well, to be honest with you, both Warehouse 13 and Eureka they still had fucking legs.
Like
but
Warehouse 13 though would be, if they ever wanted to, would be an easy show to reboot. If you could get basically you need, what's her name? The one character.
What, Claudia?
Yeah. Because she could basically fill in everything that happened because she's the next one. But
well, to be honest with you, you could still do Eureka. I mean, you don't have to have that cast back because there was some some revolving doors where people changed positions or left the show.
Sure.
So, but I mean, it's a city that's super duper top secret where you create shit that no one else knows about for the Department of Defense. It's not really, it's you could reboot the shit out of that.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Star Trek. There, of course, is the show Star Trek Picard, where it basically picks up with Jean-Luc Picard having retired, and this show not only has Patrick Stewart, but it also has a bunch of familiar faces.
Imagine that, sir.
Of course, the one of the big ones for everyone is Jonathan Frakes, who was his right-hand man, William T. Riker, which makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna have a Picard show, you have to have Riker. I'm a little curious to see like who of the other. I know one person, of course, who's besides Riker, who's coming back, and that, of course, is Data.
Yep.
Brent Spiner or Spinner. Let's go Spiner. Now there is one caveat though with Data. Oh. That is that in one of the movies, I think it's Nemesis, Data died. Oh. So from my understanding, they're keeping that continuity. So what you're going to see is like flashbacks, I think. I don't know. But here's the thing. Data's an android. He does not age.
Oh.
Brent Spiner has aged. He looks like the father of Data today, as instead of all the prosthetics and heavy makeup that he had to wear back in the day.
I mean, he is about that age.
Yes, he is. But is
Worf coming back?
I don't know. Like they were kind of I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see Worf, or I'd really like to see the Doctor, or Deanna Troi, the therapist.
Of course, the trick is it's on CBS All Access, so it's not actually on television.
Yes. What?
You have to like have the CBS All Access package.
I love this. We're to the point where we're once again trying to segment the shit out of everybody. Like, if you want our stuff, you have to pay us. No one else.
Well, that's what people wanted.
Well, right. It's a la carte. Right. But the problem is that when everything becomes so fragmented with everyone choosing a la carte, there's going to be someone that's going to basically be the next iteration of a cable company who's going to bundle all those a la cartes in to save you some money.
True. That's kind of the next evolution. Is you can buy Netflix, Hulu, et cetera, for $100 a month or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number.
Well, from my understanding, if you have, I think it's like you can get like a Hulu package deal. It gives you Hulu, Disney Plus is something else for a lower price.
But that's also because of the corporate conglomerate.
Well, of course. I mean, everything.
They don't want to do it with Netflix, though, because that's their direct competitor.
No, of course not. But and for those of you who may not be in the know, channels like Sci-Fi and NBC or NBC Universal or any of those channels, they're actually owned by a cable company called Comcast. So Comcast actually dictates what NBC and all their fucking offspring can do. So do not be fooled.
Be entertained.
So if you do anything with NBC services, know this: you are playing with the devil called Comcast. And watch, our internet is going to disappear in like 3 seconds.
And sadly, we have no choice in the matter.
Oh, yes. Thanks to the government regulation where if you have an established footprint, no new services are allowed to enter said zone.
But we don't love monopolies here in America. We love freedom.
Right. All right, Google, Apple, Amazon, Activision, Tencent. Though Tencent's not an American company, so I think they're kind of like...
Or, actually, the next big one is going to be the wireless, potentially.
Well, okay.
It's like with Verizon's, like people who've actually tested like the in-home Verizon, not the 5GE, like the fake 5G, the actual true 5G. If you're also like any other self-service in a good spot, people have used it in-home, have said it's actually as good as cable, like as far as latency and everything else.
But here's a funny little extra wrinkle. A lot of those budget mobile services out there are actually owned by like AT&T.
Well, this one's Verizon. The one I've read about is
No, I know. Verizon's coming hot and heavy because Verizon's actually a cable. It's a media conglomerate already.
Because you have like Cricket and all these other smaller
Cricket,
ones.
Metro, PCS.
They all lease off of the big boys.
Boost Mobile. No. Most of them are owned by the big boys. It's like... it's basically what the Baby Bells. Hell, they're probably all Baby Bells because technically Verizon and AT&T are Baby Bells. So technically they're the same company, but they're not. But they are, but they're not because of monopoly rules.
What?
I know. Anyways, let's not get bogged down with the sadness.
But that would actually be nice, though, if the wireless would actually work. I'm just saying, like...
But then...
But you could actually have competition in the playing field is why.
Competition?
Like, say at your house, say you could get the wireless 5G of sufficient service. Now you actually have an alternative to Comcast, which may force Comcast to either A, lower their prices, or B, improve their service.
Well, to be honest with you, okay, since we're going down this route, since we're going down this route, let me drop some knowledge on you. So this is basically a different approach to what AT&T is doing. AT&T, of course, is a phone company, but also you see your AT&T Uverse. They've also they buddied up. I don't know if they're still buddied up, but they were with like Dish or DirecTV or something like that.
AT&T changes like what they're doing like every 18 days.
Wait, hold on.
It's like
hold on. From the as being an individual who once upon a time worked in the telecommunications industry, what AT&T did was both slick and very assholish. Basically, they are a phone company first. So anywhere that their lines exist, which a phone company's got a lot more wiggle room than a cable company, they can give you the services. On top of that, because your services are available in there, they can extend all their additional services now. So that's what Verizon's doing. Verizon, of course, Verizon Wireless, they've got fucking antennas all over the place. So why not try to increase the infrastructure and try to poach off of those disgruntled individuals who can't get anything other than Charter or Comcast or Quest or Bright House or whatever other companies out there.
Sure.
Or, I was about to say Verizon, but that's Verizon. I guess you could fight against yourself. I mean,
Who does Fios Fiber?
is
that Verizon?
I think it's Verizon.
Okay, yeah.
Or Google. I mean, Google's. Did Google die? I mean, did Google Fiber die? I mean, that's like.
No, actually, I'm kind of pissed off about that. So if
What's
you
that?
look at the map of where Google Fiber
Weren't
went,
you about to get it?
if you go up my road, like subdivision just south of me got it, subdivision just north of me got it, and like mine was like in the next zone.
So basically,
It's like,
it's a culmination of awesomeness. They're like, we're okay.
Nah, we're good. Yeah, it's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Bastards.
And so I'm stuck with basically Xfinity for the rest of my life. Although at least my Xfinity actually like works and I get like what I'm advertised.
I don't.
Like my Xfinity is actually like I'm actually fine with my service.
I'm not.
But it would still be nice to have choices.
Yes, choices
Like
are
that's
good.
the thing. It would still be
Yeah. What's the word? Competition breeds innovation.
Whoa, what?
I know.
Innovate in the like sector of delivering internet to people? Why would we do that?
You know, give the consumer a better, more thoroughly tested product. I mean, I'm just.
But hurt the CEO's bottom lines like bonus pay by like $2? Unacceptable.
No, actually, it'd be $5.85.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa. I mean,
I know. What's that? That's like that's a Big Mac, a Frosty, and an extra fry.
I mean, that might be the difference between getting his Learjets and like not. I'm just.
It could be the difference between making it to Boca Raton and coming 2 miles short. Okay.
You might run out of gas because
Exactly.
of corporate oversight.
Speaking of gas, you did hear the terrible story about Delta Airlines dumping a bunch of gas on a school.
What? No.
Okay, so what's the air control people?
TSA.
FAA?
Air traffic control.
FAA? Is that right?
Air traffic control.
Yeah, air traffic control. Anyways,
Oh, FFA. Yeah, that's like the government.
yeah. Okay, so basically, if your plane is in trouble, you're supposed to dump fuel to lessen the chance of your plane exploding.
Okay.
And there was a malfunction with the plane, so they dumped fuel. It was just unfortunate that where they dumped the fuel was a primary school.
Oops.
So kids were, of course, suffering burns and itching sensations.
Ugh. Yeah.
Fun fact.
That's not good PR.
No, it's not. But at the same time, you know, like, it sucks, but how the hell are you supposed to know where your fuel's going to dump when you're that far up in the air?
Dude, you gotta like calculate the trajectory of the wind and as it's going down and how fast a swallow is coming in the opposite direction.
An unladen swallow?
Yeah.
Is it African or European? It makes a difference. But anyways, so yes. I don't remember what we were talking about, but yes.
We were talking about how much we all love Comcast.
Or our cable internet services.
Because
That's right.
of bundling the streaming services someday.
That's true. Yes.
That's
yeah.
really what it, yeah.
And I, you know, it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than later. But the thing that's going to happen first, I think, with the introduction of Disney Plus, you're going to start seeing alliances being made. Like any type of fucking industry, you're going to see alliances being made.
And more mergers.
Which is kind of speaking of mergers, totally off topic, but in the lovely state of Georgia.
We're in Georgia.
Yes, there was a baseball stadium for the Atlanta Braves called SunTrust Park.
I thought it was called the TED.
No. The TED is now Georgia State University Stadium.
Wait, what year are we in?
2019. No. We 2020. The baseball park was called SunTrust Stadium. Now, of course, SunTrust and
Truist.
BB&T combined and became Truist. And of course, that's always fun to spell, TRUIST. But the really funny thing is that where I work, right next to us is a brand spanking new, I think it's like 22-floor building that has SunTrust written on the outside.
Mm.
I mean, they literally just put up the letters like a week ago. I don't know. You would think you understand the merger's coming. Gesundheit. But anyways, let's move on to the next story. Now, this one is a little bit more in the nerdy gaming realm. This is actually this is not a norm, but at the same time, it's actually a little brilliant. But I do not advise everyone to do this. Okay, basically, what happened was there was a developer out there who created a game called Danger Gazers. And it really wasn't doing well on Steam. But
There's always a but.
What happened was that they decided to release the entire game on a torrent.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was a lot of people who were unsure about the game ended up getting the game, of course, legally, because they didn't pay anything. And then a bunch of other people were like, oh, shit, what's that game? And then they bought it. So after releasing it to a torrent site, their profit went up 400%.
It reminds me of the demo model.
Well, yeah,
Give
that's true.
people an opportunity to play your game, and they'll get hooked in and be like, oh, this is actually a good game, and now I can purchase it.
Look, at the end of the day, there's a ton of shitheads who basically want everything for free. But there are a lot of people out there who do not want to spend money on an unknown entity, but once they see how awesome it is, they're going to put money in.
I would agree.
Now, of course, one of the more famous leaks, because this is a leak to a torrent, but one of the most famous leaks that has turned into now an upcoming trilogy is some would say it's Ryan Reynolds, no one knows for sure, actually leaked some test footage of a movie called Deadpool.
What?
And then all of a sudden, people were like, we want this movie! And then they got the movie. And then a second came. And now there's a third one apparently in the works.
I hope there is.
There is. But unfortunately, the director of the first two basically flipped Ryan Reynolds the double bird and walked off the set. So it's not going to be that director. But that being said, sometimes these tactics actually end up working because you get the public's favor. Mm-hmm. Yes, it would be very interesting, and I know it's damn near impossible to find out, statistics of how many people downloaded it via torrent versus how many people actually bought it, because the part of the point of torrents is.
I mean, it's probably not a overall, in the grand scheme of things, effective strategy for all developers.
No. Yeah, that's why I said not.
Like, it worked for this
Yes.
company, but yeah, like you said, it's not something that you probably want to recommend as a wholesale tactic. But at the same time, you almost wonder, like, very cynically speaking, is it almost easier to wade through the game section on a torrent site than it is on all the stuff Steam has? Mm-hmm. I mean, there is some element of almost so much stuff is just on Steam of finding what is out there. I don't know.
Here's something very... Okay, so let me read a little bit of a story. It's from Polygon. Basically says, when they first released the game, it didn't make much of a splash. A week later, the developer decided to upload a torrent of the game onto Pirate Bay, noting that there's no catch here, no Steam-only features, just the fully functional game. In return, they asked players who liked the game to consider buying it at full price. What ended up happening was a 400% increase in sales. And you can see in the Steam reviews of the games where players note that it became an instant purchase the second they say the developer released a torrent for players who couldn't afford it.
I think that's key, though, because I would say one of the biggest indicators on Steam is user reviews. Mm-hmm. So if you see a game that has like 2 user reviews, most people are just going to skip over that game. But if you see the same game with 100 reviews and they're all like mostly positive, you're going to be like, oh, this must be a great game.
But the other thing is, there of course is corporate espionage where you got people who basically infiltrate review sites and try to either raise the shit to the ceiling or drop it like it's hot.
It's like EVE Online.
Which
only in the real world.
But of course, there's a lot of different there's a lot of ways that these companies now are trying to, I don't want to say discredit, but discount your review if you didn't actually purchase said product.
Well, like you'll see, like at Amazon, they'll have like verified purchaser.
Right, exactly.
May or may not actually mean anything.
Right, but I mean, when it comes to with games on Steam, if you actually purchased it, it's different. Your review will be seen differently as in comparison to, like, say, if I were to get a review key.
Yeah.
My review is basically, it's not factored into the overall scoring. You could see it. You can see what my score is, but since I didn't actually buy it, it was gifted to me. It doesn't actually go into the overall score,
which to me makes sense.
Well, absolutely, it makes total sense. You want the actual consumers to affect the rating of the game.
Yep. The funny thing I always see is, at least going back to Amazon, is they have all the free product promos. In return, you'll do a review.
Yep.
I've never seen a negative review of a product promo. Like every time it's like, I got this for free. It's the best thing ever. It's never been like, I got this for free and it's terrible.
Fun fact. Vast majority of shit that you get for free, you're not going to complain.
No, I mean, that's human nature.
Unless, of course, someone kicks you in the nuts for free, I'm going to complain. After I regain consciousness.
Can I wear a cup first?
No.
Oh, well.
No.
Okay, that'd be unfortunate. One
of the really cool things is there was one review on Steam for this game, which, of course, once again, it's called Danger Gazers. Is this the? Yeah, this is the Steam link. I'm gonna copy it into the chat window for everyone to go check out. Is that one of the reviews says, the game itself is not my cup of tea, but I'm happy to support the developer. Mm-hmm. It's not a strategy that everyone should employ, but it is like food for thought.
Well, it's probably also, I mean, think about it. If you have a game on Steam, it's not doing anything. It's almost like, what do you have to lose?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Like, you're not going to lose any more money than you're going to get otherwise, so why not try?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The game cost $9.99.
Okay. Interesting.
So, of course, I mean, the problem is that because of the free-to-play market, a lot of people view every game as it should be free-to-play, and I'll pay if I really like it, which, of course, is the demo model.
But it's really, I mean, think about it, it's changed the paradigm in how we interact so much. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. You pay approximately over the life of the cell phone, $600 for a cell phone, give or take, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And yet you see a game for $2 on the App Store. It's like, whoa,
$2.
Whoa. And it's just like, there is very much a weird disconnect. I mean, we grew up, and it's like you paid $50 to $60 for a game.
Yep.
Now, granted, I know it's not AAA titles on the iPhone, but it's still just it is interesting how the human thought process of what pretty much most people expect out of their games,
especially mobile games,
when it comes to mobile games, is they better be free. And it's changed games, not mostly for the better, unfortunately.
True. I mean, the problem is because of the ease of which you can drop your product onto different platforms, you're seeing a bunch of people who are trying to get the quick buck. Those individuals out there who are trying to game the system, and then, of course, like, oops, sorry, I didn't know. And then, of course, they take their game off immediately, but they've already made a shit ton of money.
Well, I see two things. One is you see games that are clearly made with the intent of, how can we make money? And now let's build a game around that, around making money and monetizing it. And two is the insane amount of skinning of games. Like, how many versions of Tap Titans, how many you see? How many versions of
Angry Birds?
How many versions? What's that? AFK Arena and all those AFK games. Farmville. Like, you see, like, so many, like, you lose a lot of original thought in these games. It's funny because you'll see a game like, brand new game with no other, like, mechanisms like it. You install it, it's like, wait, this is a reskin that this developer released a year ago.
Mm-hmm. But we made it look different. We, instead of being rural America, it's now sci-fi futuristic.
Whoa.
No, I mean that's, you know.
It's unfortunate that we've kind of lost some of that on the It's like, it's hard to find a quality, good video game on the iPhone.
Agreed.
And a lot of the best ones, they're old games like Knights of the Old Republic. And games like that were released on the iPhone are some of like the actual best games, ironically.
Well, the thing is that if you already have an existing product that was, blew everyone's mind, if you re-release it onto a new platform, people are going to buy it. I mean, let's just take a game, I don't know, like Chrono Trigger into consideration, where how many fucking platforms is it on? 16?
Yep, I agree, but it's interesting that they don't develop a new a new game like Knights of the Old Republic.
I heard that KOTOR 2 was kind of eh.
Well, the problem I have with KOTOR 2, KOTOR 2 is the definition of release a game before it's ready.
You mean Neverwinter Nights 2?
I never played Neverwinter Nights 2, to be honest.
That's the same.
No,
or Dragon Age 2.
So, like, Knights of the Old Republic was a great... so here's what with Knights of the Old Republic. What I say before it's ready is 2/3 of the game was fine. Great game. And then the game just ends. That's what I mean. Like, it wasn't that the gameplay wasn't complete or like any of that. It's just like it's not like
so it's basically the model that most game companies do now, except that they weren't going to try to DLC you to death to get the final ending.
Yeah, if only they released KOTOR 2 during the era of DLC, would have been fine, because they just released the last third of the game as DLC and problem solved. But that's what happened with KOTOR 2 is like, what they had built was fine. It wasn't bug ridden or anything. But now what's happened though is you've had like these teams of modders who have like tried basically finishing the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you want to finish the game.
Speaking of video games, did you see what 2 massive 2020 releases have been delayed for the year?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure that you know this, but just in case we get to break the bad news to you, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 humongous games that everyone has been highly anticipating. That, of course, being the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and, of course, the Cyberpunk 2077.
Now, can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that truly bad news?
Okay, so it's a mixed bag. Of course, you got a bunch of people who... Here's the issue. As a gamer for a very long time, the fear of a title being pushed back can give people nightmares of maybe not quite Duke Nukem Forever, but something on the same level as a Twilight Princess, Zelda Twilight Princess, which was originally supposed to release for the GameCube.
Yeah.
And they got pushed all the way to the Wii and then had a GameCube release as well.
Okay.
But fun fact, back in the day when I actually was ignorant about GameStop's business practices, I actually pre-ordered Twilight Princess for the GameCube, and I had the fucking pre-order slip on my my corkboard for over a year, and finally I said, fuck it. I went back in there with the original receipt, which was very faded, and said, look, take the money off of this. I'm buying a freaking game because I don't know when Twilight Princess is actually coming out.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, the thing was, I think at the time, I was getting close to graduating, so I was like, I'm not going to wait around for this game. I've got shit to do. But
that
okay.
really ever change?
No. So Cyberpunk 2077, which is supposed to be released in April, is now the release is now aimed in September for now. Of course, that could change. Probably it'll either be more delayed or actually get released then. Now, of course, with Final Fantasy VII, ironically, they're going to push it to April 10th. So it's like, well, Cyberpunk 2077 gave up their spot, so we're taking it.
See, I feel like we were just talking 5 minutes ago about games that are released incomplete, and they need bugs and fixes and all stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm much more in the camp of like, delay the game all you need, not to the extent of like
Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, not like that. Put it basically on hiatus, but delay it.
StarCraft Ghost.
Make the game. Okay, let's not kill the game.
It's still there, damn it, somewhere.
But make the game released in mostly at least its final form. Don't give us like what was it? What was the Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Unity.
That was just terrible. What?
That like the vertices on the face were inverted, so you just see eyeballs,
I shouldn't
nostrils,
say it's a
and a
terrible
mouth.
game. It wasn't a bad game. It just had so many crippling
Bugs, yeah.
that they eventually fixed.
Actually, you want crippling bugs. Where the fuck is
Arkham
it?
Knight,
No.
Elemental War Magic.
Yes. Well, it wasn't okay. It was a crippling bug. Well, first of all, the game, there was nothing to the game. Second of all, every single thing, if you were, there was, of course, a vast majority of discs out there, they're region coded. At least the North American discs were all coded incorrectly, and so it was seen as an illegal copy.
That's problematic.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, I would rather them take their time and get the good version of the game out.
Now, question.
Okay.
Well, let's say that they take this extra time, but the game is still shit. What do you say to that, sir?
That's a big oopsies.
That's Duke Nukem Forever.
Well, because right now, especially Project Red Key, is they remind me of the Blizzard of old, where they release some fantastic games, and based on their business practices, they've really built up the goodwill of the community. And that's predominantly of what people's reactions to Cyberpunk is like, hey, let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And I think especially Project Red Key, they have the benefit of the doubt in the game. But to your point, though, if they release it, now delayed a number of months, and it's full of bugs and other stuff, then people lose that goodwill, and it's like, well, crap. So I think you do kind of play that game, whereas if you release it on time and it has a lot of bugs, it's like, well, it had bugs. Okay, but if you delay it and then it's still terrible, then
right? But at the same time, if you look at the Arkham Batman Arkham Knight, where if you got in the Batmobile, your game fucking broke.
Which is ironic because it's actually a great game.
Yes,
but that's all I think about.
Right, exactly. No, so the thing is, like, they pushed it out there like, oh, we'll fix it later, and then that's a really fucking big bug, and they literally had to recall all hard copies on their own dime and resend it out. Versus, the game's not ready, we're going to push it back. And when they push it back, it's still buggy. So the question that comes to my mind is, well, how fucking buggy was it in the first place? But second of all, even though it's still buggy, and I feel like, you're still kind of screwing me over, at least you're not trying to force feed me something that you're going to have to take back.
Fair. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Final Fantasy VII, good Lord. We've been laying on a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Well, we've been pleading for a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
So that was like, that to me, that feels more like Duke Nukem Forever than anything else.
Well, the difference between Duke Nukem Forever and Final Fantasy VII is no one at Square Enix, or Square at the time, or Squaresoft, whatever, ever said we're making a reboot of 7. Everyone was dying for a reboot of 7. When they showcased the PlayStation 3, they had a technical demo of the opening cutscene for Final Fantasy VII, which made everyone like lose their shit. Whereas Duke Nukem Forever, the guys have been promised, y'all, we're making a new game, Duke Nukem. And then every single time there was a new graphics engine, we're going to make it even better. So we're going to take all the shit that we had and throw it out the window and set it on fire. We're going to do it again. Until they ran out of money, and then Gearbox Studios bought it and was like, fuck it. There it is. It's shit, but at least people can finally say they have Duke Nukem Forever. Which, by the way, if you want my copy of Duke Nukem Forever for PlayStation 3, I'm willing to hear your offers.
$1.
A little bit higher than that. But Final Fantasy VII, the thing that people have to understand about Final Fantasy VII, it is a remake. It's an absolute remake. It's not 100% the Final Fantasy VII game from the original PlayStation.
Is it still episodic?
Yes, it's going to be episodic, and also because of it being episodic, they're also going to be filling in a lot of holes. Because here's the beautiful up and down of nostalgia. Nostalgia has this beautiful way of filling in a bunch of holes of things that were missing. Say in Final Fantasy VII, you actually were to play the original Final Fantasy VII today, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yep.
But because, it's from however fucking long ago, you're like, oh man, I remember spending all that time and the story was amazing. Oh. But if you were, of course, it's like
rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're your first favorite movie. If you were to watch it today, chances are you'd be really depressed. Unless you're me.
And then you love it even more.
Because I love anything that Ernest P. Worrell is in. Ernest Goes to Camp, man. I watch that to this day. Unfortunately, the gentleman has passed, but that's okay. Anyway, so Cyberpunk is now scheduled for September of this year, and Final Fantasy VII Remake is scheduled for April of this year. So be on the lookout for that. And just to be totally honest with you, I would be excited if you're in line for either of those games. I'd be very excited about that there's still a release date on it. There are games that have gone into the night and never see the light of day. Beyond Good and Evil 2. But did it actually ever get released? Fuck. I need to figure that out. I'll figure it out later.
There's always later.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's talk about one other thing, and that is something that is actually literally close to Altered Confusion. That is the Mall of Georgia is opening. Mall of Georgia is the biggest mall in the Atlanta area. Yes?
Good Lord. Have you been to the Mall of Georgia?
Yes. I got lost there.
I think I went there like 10 years ago.
I was there about 10 years ago. I went to the IMAX and saw, I think, the original Transformer.
Oh, whoa. Did you? Lots of explosions and big machines making clings.
It was amazing. I also got a little bit sick, but that's okay. It was amazing. But anyways, a joint esport venue is coming to the Mall of Georgia later this year. Allied Esports, an esports entertainment venture and commercial real estate company, Simon Property Group, announced on Monday that the company's first esports venue will be located at the Mall of Georgia.
Interesting.
Let's see here.
It's 13,000 square feet.
13,000 square feet for to the village at the mall. The venue is expected to be a gaming and esports destination for players and interested members in the community. The company's plan to open the venue this fall and say it will have full broadcast and streaming capabilities. It will also be the host location for amateur and professional esports tournaments. Allied Esports and Simon are also co-producing a national amateur tournament called the Simon Cup, which, of course, for what game?
I'm really curious about their, basically the business model behind this, of where is the income going to actually come from, really?
It's got to be a rental time, right?
I mean, but, if I have an esports team, do I already maybe have a location to play my esport at? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But maybe they cut you a sweeter deal. I mean, I would have to actually be there to see what the layout is and what the true functionality could be about the venue.
Even in town, one of the places you go to play video games is Battle and Brew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their moneymaker is not that you're sitting there playing PC games. It's there that you're playing PC games while drinking and eating. So that's where that's a lot of... You have to have a hefty markup to make the money back for all the hardware. They've
got to have some kind of handshake with some company or some developer out there who has an esports league where they will exclusively utilize that facility. It's got to be. Now, speaking of esports, an interesting story story is kind of evolving. That it's all around Overwatch. Oh. Now, of course, the Overwatch Pro League is entering its third year with brand new expansion teams from all over the place. But there's a problem. Oh. And that is that the Overwatch League is actually losing viewers and players. One of the many-sided reasons is that there's just no true originality. You've got a certain set of maps. They all basically function the same way. And there's not a whole lot of characters that are going to be useful in a certain meta. So, you've got certain team builds, and then, it's basically everyone's playing the same fucking character.
That is very... When you get to the higher echelons of Overwatch... There's definitely a meta. Where right now it's a double shield meta. So
I think in the Overwatch Pro League it's forced.
No, it's not.
There's a forced combination in the Pro League. You're not allowed to go a specific way.
don't know about that.
I will look it up.
Okay. But regardless, it's still, when you get to the Grandmaster, Plat, etc. level, there's definitely like a certain synergy among characters where if you don't have these sets, you got to put your team in a little bit of a disadvantage. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, of course, you have your maps. What they do in competition, at least, is they have a map rotation. So I think it's like every season they have like 10 maps that they rotate. And that keeps on like rotating in and out. So they do have that, which makes competition sometimes actually boring because you're playing the same maps over and over instead of rotating through the entire stock.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's Overwatch has been out for a couple of years now. So you do wonder if it's already reached kind of that critical mass of people who are interested in it. And really, how many new players are playing Overwatch?
Not a whole lot.
Exactly. I think you've already probably reached most of your potential market base as far as a game's life cycle goes. But how's that any different than Call of Duty or any other first-person shooter, really?
Well, the thing is with like a Call of Duty or a first-person shooter, there's more. I mean, it's a more open map. And the thing with like Counter-Strike or a Call of Duty is there's some specialities to the character, but it's really down to you. You're not as boxed in as like an Overwatch character or a Paladin's character. Let's see here. This story basically says that the Overwatch Pro League game match was in a sold-out arena. However, the final tally for viewers was 318K, which, if you were to compare it to Counter-Strike, Goal Offensive, Fortnite, Dota 2, and a couple others, they easily broke the 1 million viewer mark.
That's problematic.
So you have 318 to 1 million viewers. So something's, that immediately you're thinking, what the fuck? Yep. But on top of that, apparently a lot of the big name broadcasters, the commentators, they're also leaving. So it's an interesting dynamic that's happening. I swear to God that let's see here, blah, blah, blah. If you took the nameplate, this is a comment that one of the writers said. If you took the nameplates and team colors off every team in Overwatch League last season, the only team that would have had a distinct style to separate itself from the rest was the Chingu Hunters, who played damage-dealing heroes in a meta that only catered to beefy tanks and supports.
Yep. Yeah.
That's not even possible anymore with Overwatch adapting a role lock system that makes every match feature 2 damage dealers, 2 tanks, and 2 supports.
Yeah. So what so what happened last season? So before, so every Overwatch match is 6 players, right? Mm-hmm. And a big issue that you get into is you get into a match and 4 people at insta-lock DPS. Mm-hmm. Which basically you need a tank and a healer, hopefully, in theory.
Right.
So you get up. Somebody would usually go Reinhardt, and the other person usually go like Mercy or Moira.
Mm-hmm.
2 supports, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened is, me as a player, I want to be a DPS player. Mm-hmm. I get into a competition, and there's already four DPS players.
Right.
So it's like, what the hell do I even do? And the other issue it caused too, so you have SR, which is basically your strength rating. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter, all of your different roles would factor into one single SR. So you might be a gold level DPS, but a platinum level tank, and then a bronze level support, right? But they all mush together, so it could really throw off your team compositions. So what they did last season is they did what's role lock, where you queue as your role. So if I feel like playing tank today, I roll as a tank, and so on and so forth. And each of the different 3 roles have their own unique SR. Mm-hmm. It was a fantastic change to the game. Like, it really has improved gameplay a lot. Because the other issue you get into, if I joined a game, and what could also happen if 2 people rolled support and 2 people locked tank, I basically have to go DPS, and you do not want me DPSing. It's going to be a loss. So,
you don't want me healing.
There you go.
That's for fucking sure.
But that's the thing. That's what role lock allowed people to do. Is now you can roll. Like, enjoy playing this role that you want to play. And like what I would do when I played competition is like I'll alternate between rolling for tank and then I'll switch over to support. So even then it changes up the game. So I've really enjoyed that change to the game.
So another bit of this article, which of course is on ESPN, is when you look at all the matches for professional leagues, be it Overwatch, Dota, League of Legends, all that stuff. League of Legends, it's about to introduce its 149th playable character. Dota 2 recently bolstered its ranks to 119. Overwatch, which has 12 players in a professional game compared to League and Dota's 10, has a whopping 31 characters.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about I think at least at a pro level, like you're playing like for money, there should be no role lock. Like it's different. Like if I'm queuing with people and I don't know who I'm playing with, role lock
absolutely
makes sense because it kind of evens it out. But if you're playing like I'm playing with, my team of 6 people for like a year, we're gonna be able to figure out my damn roles.
Right.
If you think you can beat other people because everyone wants to play 6 DPS, by God, go for it.
True.
So I think at a pro level, I think the idea of role lock, because at that point it should be purely about what team synergy can you make that's going to beat other teams.
Agreed. Now, let's see here. The one of the problems, of course, with Overwatch is that they only have 31 characters, and they're not really. They may release maybe 1 or 2 more in the next year.
It's a pretty slow release cycle.
It's a very slow release cycle. The other thing that you have to factor in about the Pro League is that starting this coming season, there's going to be travel. And that's actually got a lot of people's feathers ruffled because you're talking about, I'm trying to remember, the Boston Uprise will be traveling 71,000 miles this season via plane and whatnot. In comparison, the National Basketball Association LA Lakers will travel 40,000. So an NBA team that plays 80 games.
Is it 82?
Or 82, 82, whatever. In the entire season is going to travel 40,000 miles versus the Boston Overwatch team, which will travel over 71,000 miles.
That's a lot of plane travel. And probably some really long flights, too.
Oh God, yes, but I understand. Like this was actually one of the questions I had from the very beginning.
I remember that.
How the hell do you have? How are you doing landlocked teams but not having them play where they're from? But at the same time, because it's an international sport, you've got teams from Germany, from China, from Japan, from Korea, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, whatever,
Antarctica.
And I don't think there's an Antarctic team, but if there is,
there should be.
Zealeus is willing to apply.
I'd be the only one.
But no, okay. So the not so fun thing about doing any type of international exhibitions or leagues or whatever is travel visas. And holy shit balls, I know I've watched enough like pro league stuff. Especially when it comes to high res, be it Smite or Paladins, where some of the best players aren't at the tournament because they couldn't get their travel visa.
I remember the High Res Expo, they had some issues with teams from China getting over here. And they had to like put in their alternates basically because like XYZ player couldn't make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's also a fun thing of if you visit an area too many times, they will not give you the visa.
Nice.
So let's say that you are a traveling salesman and you're making a couple too many trips to Brazil. At some point, you're not going to get that travel visa until the beginning of next year. Fun fact.
Did not know that, sir.
But anyways, so now you're talking about players who are going to be moving all over the place. You got all those players. Of course, you're probably going to need translators for whatever location you're going to because chances are a lot of the players may not know French, Italian, German,
Really?
Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese.
Swahili.
I don't think there's any Swahili, but you never know.
You keep on dashing all my hopes, you.
I'm sorry. But anyways, it's The one upside for Overwatch is the fact that there's a bunch of new Chinese teams. And to be honest with you, as we talked about last week, Tencent is like this massive Chinese conglomerate that's eating up every single company it can find. So if China embraces Overwatch Pro League, there's a good chance it's still got legs, because China has a lot of fucking money and they have a huge ass viewership, and because of their awesome power and whatnot, you got basically the NBA and the NFL and all these other pro leagues bowing down and going, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to piss you off.
Pretty much.
But anywho, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we're kind of nearing the end, but I did want to make one quick mention.
Make the mention!
And then, of course, is, ladies and gentlemen, I know that all of you are very aware that that AlteredConfusion, specifically myself and Zealeus, and sometimes myself and Jesse, have attended a specific convention in Atlanta for, I think this is going to be my 9th year or 10th year. And then, of course, that convention, of course, is called MomoCon. Down at the Georgia World Congress Center, this time in Building B instead of A, which is going to be a bigger place.
B for bigger.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I do want you to breathe a sigh of relief. AlteredConfusion has submitted their panel request, their media pass request, and, of course, their fan table request.
There you go, sir.
So we, in some shape or form, will be there. Most likely, at the bare minimum, we'll have a fan table. The next step up, of course, would be we have a fan table and I will have a press pass. And of course, the ultimate goal is to have a fan table, a press pass, and of course, have our panel. Wow. And of course, the panel that we have submitted for the 3rd straight year, and that is video games changing for the good? ?
I still miss the structure of the game industry as we know it.
It's too long. That's why a lot of places didn't like it. They like the content. It's just too fucking long of a title. They want something short. That's why video games changing for the good ? Works. The destruction of the game industry as we know it's too long. Or so you finished your indie game. Now what?
Well,
it's too long.
I was never very helpful in that one, anyways.
No, you're not. But anyways, so we will be at MomoCon. I was really interested in trying to get into another convention, but unfortunately I missed the cutoff by 3 days to submit my information. So,
which one was that?
It's one in Atlanta. It's called like the Atlanta Sci-Fi Convention or something like that. Unfortunately, because of the lack of updating a specific website, a convention still had all of AlteredConfusion's information up on their website until beginning of this week. And so a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're coming back to this convention? It's amazing. Let's do this. And I'm like, we're not. I would love to come back to Chattacon. I've got no problems. But the problem is when I'm looking at it, and this is going to sound crazy. This is one of the very rare times of my life where I'm actually looking at a financial breakdown.
The monies?
The monies. To go to Chattacon is fucking awesome. But as a company that's trying to promote a product, it is, no offense, shit. No! We had a total of like maybe the entire stay. I think it was like, at least, I think it was like, it might have been Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe it's just Saturday and Sunday. We probably had like 40 people tops at our table. There was no traffic flow. The 3 panels we gave, 2 people showed up to 1, and the rest of them were empty. Aww. So the thing is, if you're looking to have a really good time and just hang out with a bunch of people, like-minded individuals, and see a burlesque show, Chattacon is for you, sir.
Place to go.
It is. It's a great place to go. But for AlteredConfusion, no.
I hear you, yo. I hear you.
Unfortunately. So we're not going to Chattacon. We won't be doing the Atlanta Sci-Fi Convention. I know there's already some whispers about another convention happening later in the year, but I still have to work out the details. But the one thing you can be assured is that we will be at MomoCon in some regard. Because we've basically been, in a roundabout way, we've basically been promised that as long as we want a fan table, we can have a fan table. Because we actually give a shit and stay at our fan table the vast majority of the time. Unlike lots of other tables.
I've noticed that.
So anyways, Mamagon.
Mamagon.
Memorial Weekend here in Atlanta, Georgia.
I remember memorials.
Yeah. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to thank everyone for tuning into the Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you everything coming out our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another amazing Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.